Have you ever lost anything of great value? I bet you have. What were your feelings? Remember that? Oh, I'm in trouble. How long did you look for it? I guess it all depends on how valuable it was or how much trouble you're going to get in if you don't find it. Well, you remember when you found it? Remember that joy? You remember your feeling when you lost it and then when you found it. Oh, well, hold that thought. Hold that thought. I'm Brian, Faith Fits Psalms, and I'm on a series called That's What God Has Done for Us. I just did another series on That's What God's Done. That's what God is like. But I figured I'd have to change my little thing, my shtick a little bit. And so now, because it's such an overwhelming understanding that we need to know what God has done for us, I came up with a new thing. That's what God has done for us. It's kind of like if you've ever been on a roller coaster and got that photo after and everyone's like back in their seat like this. When you understand what God has done for you, what God has done. So you're going to see me do that a lot. You can do it too if you want. Probably don't because you don't want to be weird like me, but that's okay. That's part of life here and my enthusiasm for the Lord. Again, I'm Brian, Faith at Psalms. Feel free to subscribe. If you like it, tell me, write me a comment, tell somebody, hit the alert button, check my notes for I'll be linking the last series I did on That's What God Is Like. And I'll be doing probably 15, maybe even 20 on this one. I just did the intro, so I'll link that. And what God has done for us. All right, you with me? All right, so let's go back to that thought. All right, you lost something. My wife recently worked hours, and this is probably more in the 2020s here. So she didn't lose a ring. We've done that in the past, or keys. We've done that in the past. This time she worked hours on a project for her art business, and she deleted it or couldn't find it. It was right there. It was a Google Doc. And she came to me. Now, I'm the wrong guy to help with those kind of things. I can commiserate and I can give you a big hug, but if you're going to ask me to do my technological wizardry, whatever the word is, no, it ain't going to happen. I can cry with you. I'll hug you. And I looked at it and I thought, imagine if I worked hours. I did like a 40-minute video and I was like, I can't find it. Whoa. Well, she kept looking. She was in not depression, but she was crushed. But she's a champion, that woman. And she just kept hanging in there, waited. And then she found it. So she went from like, oh no, she's going to see a grown 69-year-old woman cry. No, I don't like that. To, I found it. What God has done for us. And so that's sort of what I want to do today. You're going to find out that God has found you. You say, well, wait, I'm not lost. Well, we all were lost. Some of us are still lost right now. And if you don't know you're lost, I'm just going to be honest with you. You're probably lost if you don't know it. We're all lost in our sin, but God went after us. And so, and not only we were buried in our lostness in our past, but he found us. And he didn't just find us and say, all right, save him from the trash heap of life, the dunghill of life. No, he cleaned us up and he put us on his trophy case. So when people come in, they see it. They see you. That's what God has done for us. So you with me? So let's go. Let's look at a couple of stories. Remember, I told you this Bible is amazing. It's full of life, and there's a bunch of stories in them that illustrate spiritual things, truths that come into our heart through story. And Jesus, the master storyteller. As a matter of fact, Jesus said, he didn't do, the Bible tells us in Mark, he only spoke to the people in stories and parables because he wanted to reveal these truths for those who had ears to hear and eyes to see. So I pray that God would give you eyes to see today, a heart to know and understand, and ears to hear what God is saying through all this. So let's see what God has done. Luke chapter 15, excuse me, and then we're going to jump over to Luke chapter 19. Two stories on the fact that what has God done for us? What has God done for us? I'll tell you what he's done. He's a seeker and a savior of the lost. And you're going to see this. So we're in chapter 15 of Luke, verse 1. The tax collectors and other notorious sinners would often come to listen to Jesus. And this made the Pharisees, who were the religious experts, and Pharisee means separated ones, the holy ones, they couldn't stand that notorious sinners and tax collectors, who were the most notorious of the sinners, were listening. They despise these despicable people. And so Jesus, he's trying to put up with these religious people, and he said, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. So, guy had 100 sheep, and one got away. What do you think he did? Well, I don't know. Honestly, if I had 100 and I lost one, it was going to be a big hassle. I might say, well, still got 99, and hopefully a couple of them are pregnant. We'll replace it. Now, this good shepherd, really God, right? The Father, he left the 99, and he searched, and he searched, and he searched. We're in verse 5, until he found it. And when he found it, he didn't just clean it off and kind of like give it a little spank and go, hey, what are you doing? Don't be running away on me. Listen, just let that flow with everybody else. Pay attention. Stay with the flock. No. Carried it in his arms. And then when he got home, he threw a party because he said, one of these was lost, but now it's found. And he told another story. He said, what about, there's a woman, 10 valuable silver coins. It's probably her safety net for a future, or 401k before there were 401ks. And if she lost one of those, that's 10%. She's not just going to say, well, I'll just live on 90. She gets the lamps, she lights them, she gets a broom, and she checks every corner of her home. And when she finds it, what does she do? Oh, she rejoices. Whoa! And tells her friends and has a party. And of course, don't spend too much on the party, because then you found the coin and I used the coin to buy the party. But that's just my opinion. In the same way, there's joy in heaven when one of us turns to God. Did you know that? Did you know that there was a big party in heaven on February 1st, 1980, when I gave my life to the Lord? What about you? And if you haven't given your life to the Lord, there's going to be a party when you do. It's not just you get in by the skin of your teeth. You get all the way in. And now we're going to look at the story I really wanted to get to. Chapter 15 of Luke, verse 11. To illustrate the point a little further, he went from a sheep to a coin to a person. And he tells a story about a guy who had two sons. And the one son, we find out later, the older son was very dutiful, obeyed his father and everything, was, working the farm and the business. The other son was like, nah, come on, Dad, what's taking you so long? I want some of my inheritance. So obviously selfish, self-centered, narcissistic. Sound familiar? You either know somebody like that, or you looked in the mirror and you said, I found you. Because that's what I was like. I was rebellious. I was doing my own thing. I didn't want to listen to anybody. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, how I wanted to do it. And then I got my comeuppance, and I got humbled a long time ago. Well, I'm still getting humbled, but a big one many, many years ago. And so he takes off. And the father doesn't say a word, doesn't argue with him. Probably knew son was going to do it anyway. Gives his son his inheritance. Off he goes. And what do you think he does with it? Well, you're right. Wild living, gambling, women, big parties, drugs, cocaine, whatever the cocaine was at that time. And of course, you know what happened. He ran out of money relatively quickly, and now he has nothing. And all his friends, they ain't his friends no more. So he ends up working, feeding pigs. That's like the worst thing for a Jewish person. Not only they didn't eat pig, so they didn't sell them or raise them. So oh my gosh, feeding pigs. And then he looked around and he said, "These pigs are eating better than me. No one's giving a darn about me." And then he remembers, my father's servants got a better life than this. I need to go back. So he does. And he says, I'll say, Dad, Father, I sinned against heaven and you. I'm not worthy, but let me just work with your servant. So he returned home in verse 20 to his father. And while he was still a long distance away, his father saw him coming. How did he know? There were no emails back then. There were no, chips in your phone to be able to find where your kids are. No. No locators. No. So you'd have to imagine his father had gone out consistently. Will he come home today? Will he come home today? Listen, you have a Father in heaven that waits on high to have compassion on you. Woo! Saw him from a distance. He was filled with love and compassion. Verse 20. He ran to his son. Wow. And when he gets to the son, and of course the son probably is kind of like, well, if he's running me, I should probably do the quick walk here. And then they embrace. He hugs him. And he says, Father, no, that's right. He says, shh. And he says, quick, get the best robe. Get that robe. He takes his signet ring, gives it to him, gets sandals for his feet. Oh, this is my son. He was dead. Killed the calf, but now he's alive. Party. We must celebrate, for this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found. What has God done for us? He seeks us, even in just as we are. And when you get a load of that, when you get a revelation of that, what would you hold back from him? That's what I shared in the introduction. By the way, this is part one. My introduction, we looked at Romans 1:5, and it says, I have the authority and privilege to tell people everywhere what God has done, what he has done for them, so that they'll believe in him. They'll love him. They'll turn to him. They'll obey him to give him glory. Do you think this son had any trouble obeying and being a dutiful son? He was the champion son after this, wasn't he? And that's what this thing is all about. He's a seeker and a saver. Okay, well, one more story. This is that was a parable, an illustration, but you know that it works. It worked 2,000 years ago. It works. Well, all of us know wayward sons and daughters and husbands and wives and friends, and but he's a seeker. That's what God's done for us. Well, now this is a story of like a fellow human being. This really happened. So remember in chapter 15, the Pharisees were so upset that Jesus was hanging out with tax gatherers and notorious sinners, those despicable people. But Jesus said, no, those I came for those people. People who are well don't need a doctor. It's people who are sick. So Jesus entered Jericho. Now this, by the way, so you know, is the last week of Jesus' life. He knows it. The people following him know something's going on, but they're not quite sure. They're hoping he's the king of Israel and he's going to get rid of the Romans. And he keeps saying he's going to go to Jerusalem. They're going to spit on him and mock him and pull his beard and strike him and hurt him and beat him and scourge him and crucify him, kill him. And like, I really wish you wouldn't talk like that. They don't understand. It's going over their head. They talk among themselves, but they can't help. No one has the right answer. But he knows it. You would think if he's in the last week of his life, he would have a lot of other priorities except what he's about to do here. So he's passing through Jericho on the way to Jerusalem, which is about 15 or 18 miles away. So he's only a day or two from Jerusalem, depending on how long he wants to make the trip. And so as he's making the way through the town, there's a man there named Zacchaeus. He's one of the most influential tax gatherers, tax collecting business, and he's rich, and he's notorious, and he's a turncoat, and nobody likes him. Okay? So he wants to see this Jesus, but he's too short. He's vertically challenged, and so he can't see over the crowd, so he goes and climbs up a sycamore tree. And when Jesus comes by, he looks up and he calls him by name. Zacchaeus! How did Jesus know Zacchaeus? Quick, come down. I need to sup with you. I need to have lunch with you. I need to be a guest in your home today. In parentheses, I'm on my way to be beaten beyond recognition. I'm going to die. They're going to bury me. Of course, I'll rise from the dead. But I have time for you. Zacchaeus climbed down, took Jesus into his house with great joy. But the crowds were disappointed. He's gone to the house of a sinner. Meanwhile, they eat. And they don't do fast food. They take their time. They prepare the meal. Of course, Zacchaeus didn't know Jesus was coming, so he probably says, get the better calf, the lamb, and get the best bread. Get all. And he brings, so they sup, they dine, they talked. And it doesn't say what Jesus said, but it does tell you the result of it. Whatever Jesus said to him, at one point, he stands up from his reclining position, Zacchaeus does, and he says, I will give half my wealth, and he was a rich dude, to the poor. And if I've overcharged anybody, hello, that's how you made all your money, on their taxes, I'm going to give them back 4 times as much. What has God done for Zacchaeus? He sought him out and he saved him. And listen to what Jesus responds. Yeah, you see, it wasn't hard to do right because of what God has done for you. Jesus responded, salvation has come to this home today. For this man has shown himself to be a son of Abraham. And I, the Son of Man, my goal, my duty, my work, my assignment from the Father, to seek and to save those who are lost. That's what God has done. When you get a hold of that, when you see what God has done for you, is it even a second thought on obedience, responding in love, telling other people about him? No, not at all. That's why that psalmist in Psalm 71 says, I can't help it. I got to talk about your righteousness and your saving power all day long, for I'm overwhelmed by what you've done for me. I hope you're overwhelmed. Think it through and keep in mind, what has God done for you? What has God done for you? He is a seeker and a saver of the lost. And it's not just when you get saved, it's the salvation thing, but we drift. We get lost in the meantime, and he continues to seek you out, clean you up, and put you back in that trophy case. I bless you. Think that through, and may God change your life, because that's what God has done. Peace.